Hi everyone, hope you all had a good weekend. Today I'm going to talk about a stock I completely sold out of. I sold this out on Friday, literally like the last hour or two of the trading day on Friday. I'm going to completely sell out of this stock, and today I'll go through the reasons why I sold all of this stock. Hope you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, let's get started. Now, just a quick shout out on the Patreon. If you are a member, I did do the stock request on the weekend and we took a look at B&M. So if you are a Patreon member, go check that video out. If you do want to join the Patreon, links in the description. £5 a month and you get 2 exclusive videos a week, like the stock request and the video on B&M. So join that if you want, and as well as that, if you want some free shares, join Trading 212 with a link in the description. Get a free share worth up to £100. That's personally investing, a platform that I use. And as well as that, guys, we are so close to 16,000 subscribers. I think we're around about 18 subscribers off it. So yeah, I think this could be the week where you get me to 16,000 subscribers, and I'll do the live Q&A session on Sunday for you guys on the upcoming weekend. So try and get me there, guys. That'll be absolutely amazing, and I'll do a live Q&A session to celebrate it. But obviously, Chinese stocks, it's not Alibaba, by the way. Even though Alibaba is the stock up here, it wasn't Alibaba that I sold. But Chinese stocks are rallying massively. Obviously, I've held Alibaba shares for a long time now. I'm up, in the last kind of month, really, it's up 46%. And in one position now, I'm actually positive on my Alibaba position. I think the one I am still down on my Alibaba position. But it's good to see this actually rallying up, because it's basically been like 2-3 years of it actually not doing anything. I have been a shareholder in Alibaba for a long time, and I started buying back in like 2018 when there was all the kind of China worries back then. But the stock then, returned over 100% return for me. And then obviously I've been more aggressively buying in the last few years. And it's been a bit of a test of patience, because the last kind of couple of years it's not really done anything. So it's nice to see Alibaba, rallying up. JD.com, that's been rallying up as well in the last couple of months as well. Same again, I don't actually own this one. I used to own this stock. It's same again. I bought this in 2018. And it's been one of the best performers on the whole YouTube scene that we've had. I remember selling some shares out at 300-400% return, and that did really well for us. But I don't own that one nowadays, but obviously I still have exposure through Alibaba. But Chinese stocks have been massively rallying, and I took the opportunity to dump a Chinese stock that I don't like as much as these guys. I still own Alibaba, and I still plan to own shares in Alibaba, and I'm happy about the rally. But I took the recent rally to get out of a stock that was kind of worrying me a little bit, which was PDD Holdings. So I did completely sell out my position in PDD, and I'm a little bit disappointed, and I'm not gonna lie, I still think this might actually do quite well. I'm just seeing a lot of concerns, and I'm not gonna lie, the stock kind of pissed me off. That's another reason why I did kind of sell out the stock. Now, in the last kind of couple of months, it's been very lively. The stock fell off massively after earnings, down nearly 40%, and I was like, that's a bit of a stinger. And with the opportunity that it's basically recovered nearly all of that dip right now, I was about break even. Well, technically I was actually down 2% of my position. So I guess it was sold at a loss, but nothing really, major. It was down 2%, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of get rid of this stock. And like I said, it's been a bit disappointing, because I had big hopes for the stock, and I actually still think the stock could do okay. But there's just so many things that I'm like, do I want to hold this? Can I use the cash in other places? One of my aim is obviously as well to kind of reduce the amount of positions that I do have. I don't want to have too many positions. Obviously means a lot of upkeep, looking into the financial reports and everything like that. And I thought, is this just an opportunity to get a bit more cash and cash out a stock that's showing a little bit weakness at the moment, and kind of cut the portfolio down? And I thought, I'm going to take it, because if someone said this to me a month ago that I could get out break even, I would have took it. So I'm going to take it right now. First of all, one of the big frustrating things about PDD for me is that I have owned this company through 3 or 4 good earnings reports now. So, for example, if I go back to the one at March, the 20th of March, the stock, as you can see here, beat EPS by 0.75. This was no small beat on an EPS point of view. This was 3 times the EPS expectations. And on the revenue point of view as well, they beat by 1.6 billion. They grew at 123%. We're not talking a small beat. We're not talking 10 million, even 100 million. We're talking about 1.6 billion beat, guys. And I was owning this stock through these time frames, and the stock price just wasn't reflecting it. The day when these earnings came out, I think the stock actually dropped 10%. And I had a couple of these earnings where I was like, it's just frustrating, because I'm owning this stock and it's not only just beating the EPS massively, it's beating the revenue massively, and I'm just not getting any rewards as a shareholder. Like, if this stock was to miss by this much, I would get absolutely slammed. Funny enough, that's what actually happened. I would get absolutely slammed, and I was like, it's just frustrating to own. And sometimes the stock market does this. Over the long term, fundamentally, if they keep doing these sort of numbers, the stock should start, reflecting that in the share price. But with PDD, sometimes you just get those stocks that just break the trend, and even though they are beating in the financials massively, they just never end up showing it on the share price. And I was just so frustrated because I witnessed this stock do like 3 10 out of 10 earnings reports, and the stock wouldn't move off it. And I was like, this is absolutely an absolute killer here. And then what happened is PDD, obviously the owner of Temu, the stock absolutely crashed huge. They came out with an earnings report which was actually okay. The EPS was a decent beat. Revenue was a slight miss, as you can see here, but still growing at 86%, which wasn't too bad for like 11 times earnings. But what was not good with the stock and the business is that they basically came out and said there's going to be a lot more weakness and slower growth going forward, and the stock panicked and it went down. And it was like, you've been through those 3 absolute amazing earnings reports, and then you get one stinker, and that's how you're rewarded. Boom, straight down. And it was a bit, pissed me off a little bit with the stock. But then what also made me a little bit nervous is that when we actually started going through the earnings report, there was the commentary in the earnings report like this, for example, and they said the CEO actually came out and said that we are prepared to accept short-term sacrifices and a potential decline in profitability. Now, this is way off what we've just been experiencing inside the business. A decline in profitability. That's quite strong wording. Now, the problem with PDD is that they don't actually forecast the numbers. So this is why you always see like big variety in like the EPS beats and a big variety in the revenue like beats or misses, is because they don't actually offer much guidance. But this is the only guidance we got. So that's why Wall Street panicked and massively sold it off, which obviously isn't great. But as an investor, it also makes a problem for me, because when I'm starting to like run numbers, do I hold it for the long term? If they're not giving any numbers and that's all they're kind of giving us, it's very hard to predict as an investor. And when I was listening to the commentary around PDD and why they're going to see this decline, same again, it was very foggy on like why they're going to see a decline. They kind of put it a bit down to the macro. They put it a bit down to maybe focusing on higher quality products, looking after merchants a little bit more. Maybe China is getting a little bit involved with them. We didn't really know. They didn't really like pinpoint it down to what it is. Now, for me, if you're coming in with this kind of wording where you're going to see a potential decline in profitability when you've been doing these sort of numbers, I don't know. I just, as an investor, you got to give me something to kind of go, yeah, I'm going to hold this for the long term, because in the long term we're going to be okay. When your only guidance is this, you can only assume, worst case scenario. And then looking at the numbers, even right now, analysts are still not really upgraded or downgraded the numbers on what they're forecasting. So even analysts are having a tough time trying to like forecast on, what numbers they could potentially do. And for me, how can I really hold the stock that isn't really giving me any form of guidance on what they could do? Because right now it might be 11 times earnings, but if all of a sudden the next quarter we're going to be entering declining profitability, it's not as attractive. If they're still going to grow like 10%, I can justify 11 times earnings. If you're going to kind of come out with this sort of wording, you've got to give it a little bit more. I know maybe it's not your thing to give guidance, but you've got to give a little bit more detail on what numbers you kind of got to do. And for me, it just kind of came uninvestable, where I can't hold the stock if I have no idea what numbers they're going to do. And that kind of came the case. Now, there was also another issue, which was the big kind of point where I was like, right, that's me out. So the big thing I've always had with PDD is that the balance sheet has always been, pretty decent. In fact, it's actually really good. There's no debt on there, as you can see here. There's actually a little bit of debt on there, 2.1% debt to equity. But they sit on roughly like 284 billion Chinese yen of cash. I'm going to do a quick conversion in my head, so it might not be perfect, but that's somewhere like 28 billion of cash in US dollars. And there are 188 billion market cap, so they've got over probably 10% of the market cap in cash on the balance sheet. So right now, you've just seen your stock at 11 times earnings. Your stock's just dived 40%. You've offered no guidance, and yet you're sitting on all this cash, and you're making decent amount of profitability a year. You at least go to shareholders and go, you know what? Yeah, we apologise for this. So just to keep that EPS up, or just to give you something as shareholders for sticking with us for the next kind of 12 months. We're going to reward you with like a dividend, a special dividend over the next year, or we're going to offer you, a share buyback, which these guys did. These guys did do that. Alibaba did do that, and that gave me a little bit more confidence to hold Alibaba. But PDD really didn't give anything to shareholders, and it was like, well, you just kicked us, you just slapped us around the back of the head when we weren't looking, and you've come out with a big wording of the potential decline in profitability, with no guidance of that's it wording. There's no numbers there, and obviously we've just been slapped with the worst case scenario on the share price. And then you as the management team, you have this chance to go, we apologise. So what we're going to do? We'll give you a little dividend or share buyback to hopefully just soften the blow a little bit for this next 12 months. And they didn't even do it. In fact, management team came out and completely ruled out doing share buybacks or dividends. I was like, well, what's the point of having the balance sheet like this, and what's the point of having the profitability of this if you're not going to give any of it back to shareholders? And that's what it kind of came to me like, okay, I can't really forecast what's going on going forward. I was pissed off that I didn't get rewarded holding the stock previously, and then they're not deploying any of the cash back to shareholders. And I went, you know what? I've already got some Chinese exposure if this rally continues, because I've already got Alibaba. But this one for me was just like just a gift, where I thought, when the stock drops off earnings, a few months ago, if someone told me in a month's time you'd be back break even on position, I would have said, yeah, 100%, I'd take it. So now I'm in that place. Yeah, I'm going to take it, because from those dropping earnings, the stock has rallied up massively. It's rallied up over 51%, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to move out of this. And you know what? PDD could still do really well. PDD could, if they do the numbers that analysts are expecting, which I don't know if they will do, they'll do very well. Even if this, it's 10 times earnings, even if the stock grows like 10% a year and the profit grows at 10% a year, which is way below what they've just recently been doing with Temu. And Temu as well is still, a top 3 app in the US, so it's still very much being taken on very well in the US population. But it just came too hard for me, where I just went, you know what, I'm going to move away from here and put it in somewhere else. And obviously there's a few controversies around Temu and in general as well, with some of the the things that they do. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to move away from this one and put it somewhere else. I might look a bit of an idiot in 2 or 3 years time, but I sleep a little bit better at night, I think, at the moment, knowing that one's kind of sold. So yeah, on Friday, I sold my PD position, and I just thought I'd let you guys know that is a move that I made on Friday anyway. So I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, guys. If you could hit the like button if you're around here, subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed some kind of things that I also look out for when I'm investing in companies. Clearly there was some red flags that PDD gave me to kind of came to that conclusion. So hopefully you enjoyed me kind of showing you the things that I saw that I didn't like, and maybe you take them on board as well. So yeah, anyway, that's the video for today, guys. See you in a bit.